Happy Marvelous Monday, friends. Today we're going to talk more about the marvelous and magical word, yet. Stay tuned.
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Hi, friends. I'm so glad you're here. Let's start by doing a zones check-in. Our zones are right here, and I wanted to remind you that each zone connects to different feelings in our body. For example, the blue zone might mean that your body is feeling tired, moving slowly, maybe not fully awake. The green zone means that your body is comfortable, focused, ready to go. The yellow zone means that your body might feel a little anxious or worried. Your brain might be distracted. You may not be thinking clearly. And the red zone means that your body might feel out of control. Maybe your thoughts are really crowded. Maybe you're starting to feel tense or tight or making really big body movements that you feel like you can't control. And so I wanted us to take a minute to check in with our bodies and our brains and figure out what zone we're in right now. You can do that by listening to your body. See how it's feeling. Think about how your mind is right now. And then grab an object that matches the color zone you're in. While you're looking for that object, I wanted to remind you that there's no good zone or bad zone, and any color zone is where you could be right now, and it could change throughout the day, even minute to minute. For example, when I woke up this morning, I was feeling in the yellow zone, really distracted. My brain wasn't thinking very clearly, and I couldn't make thoughts that always made sense. I was kind of being a little silly and not making very clear thoughts. And then I started moving my body. I took a walk, I got some food and water, and I started moving to the green zone. So I'm actually in the green zone, just like this plant here is showing the color green. What color zone are you in right now? Will you show me your object? Thanks, yeah. Some blue zones, some yellow zones, some green zones, some red zones. Thanks for taking the time to check in and tell me about that. Now, of course, we can move from zone to zone throughout the day, and we can also use different strategies to help us do that. Like I mentioned, some things that help me are taking walks, drinking water, moving my body, maybe even just taking some time to myself in a comfortable, cozy space. Petting my dogs helps me change color zones. If I'm feeling blue or yellow sometimes, when I pet my dogs, I move toward the green zone. And so you can think about the strategies that help you. We've talked about some together. We'll keep talking about more, and I encourage you to give them all a try and see which ones work best. One of the ways I love to get myself focused and clear my mind is to move. And I always like to start by checking the date because that gives me a reminder to move my body and think about different ways I can do that. So you look at the date with me. It says 11/22/21. Do you know what the 11th month is? November, yes. And it is the 22nd day today. At least it is for me. Maybe it's a different day for you. That's okay. And our year, 2021, you got it. And so we are going to do 11 moves, and then 22 moves, and then 21 moves. And we're going to check in with Fig so we can hopefully get some ideas about one of the moves we'll do. Do you notice Fig's body? It looks like they're standing up, though you can also do this move sitting, I think. And it looks like their arms are kind of twisted around. You can make some guesses. You can keep observing Fig. They'll be right here. And we'll check back in with them really soon. To start, we'll actually do 11 of something called a wall sit. Maybe you've heard of this before, maybe you haven't yet. It is when we stand up against a wall and we'll put our whole body flat up against that wall. And then we'll start to sit, like as if there's an imaginary chair there. And we're gonna do this for 11 seconds. So we'll count up to 11. And this will really build our leg muscles and a little bit of our back muscles too. It is tricky though, so if you've not done a wall sit before, you might really be challenged today. That's okay, you can try your best. If you fall out of place or feel like it is not going to work very well for the entire time, you can take a break and try again. I'm gonna stand up by my wall over here. You can find a good wall too. And we'll do a wall sit for 11 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Make sure your knees are bent. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost there. 9, 10, 11. Okay, stand back up nice and tall. Maybe you need to stretch your legs out. That is hard work, those wall sits. Thanks for trying them with me. Now we have 22 moves to do, and you can do these sitting or standing. We're going to do 22 knee ups. That means we're going to pull our knees up as high as we can, almost as if we're hugging them. And try not to hug them. We want to try to have our legs do all the work here, but if you want to give them a hug if you're sitting, that might be a better way to do it. I'm going to do my knee ups standing. You can do them however is comfortable for you. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Fantastic work. Now we can check back in with Fig and see what move they're showing us. Fig, what do you have? A twist. Thanks, Fig. Twists are great for sitting or standing. What you're going to do is put your arms kind of out, bent in front of you, and we're going to twist one side and then the other. Again, you can do this sitting or standing, so go ahead and find a comfortable position and we'll get started, counting up to 21. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Hopefully you're feeling energized. Maybe your back feels really stretched out. Maybe your legs feel a little tingly or even stronger from building those muscles. No matter how you're feeling at this moment, will you pause with me and take 3 big belly breaths? This always helps cool my body down and get me ready for my next step. Will you breathe with me? Great. You'll hear a bell, and as you do, you'll fill up your belly as big as you can with air, and then slowly let it out. Let's breathe. once more. Awesome work. Thanks so much for settling back in after moving around with me today. Do you remember earlier in the month when we talked about growth mindset? How we all learn and grow at our own pace. We talked about practicing patience with ourselves because we may learn something at a different speed than someone else. We may learn one thing really quickly. We may learn another really slowly. And so practicing a growth mindset is a really helpful way for us to build our brain and make sense of learning lots of different things in our own way. I'm really excited to talk more with you about growth mindset and the power of yet. And we're going to start by checking our message first. In our message today, and always, there are some alliterations hiding. That means there are words next to each other or really close by that start with the same letters or sounds, so you can be on the lookout for them. It says, "Dear patient, persistent, and creative kids, when we talk about and practice growth mindset and the power of yet, we're actually helping our brain grow stronger. Isn't that amazing? When we face a problem, if we keep trying, use strategies such as taking a break or taking a big breath, we can change our mind from feeling stuck and wanting to quit to feeling flexible and ready to tackle a challenge. Even just changing the words we say in our head or out loud, or adding yet to the end of I can't do it, or I don't know, can help us grow. That's pretty marvelously magical, don't you think? Love, Mrs. A." Now, maybe you've spotted some alliterations. I'll leave it up for another minute if you'd like to look. But this is really blowing my mind. All of the marvelous and magical power in this little word, yet. So cool. One thing I really love to do, especially when I am trying to practice this, especially if I'm feeling really stumped or feeling like, oh, I really can't do this yet, is actually to make the shape of a Y with my body. And so your body can be the long bottom part of the Y. It can be sitting or standing. And your arms can be the big tall parts. Sometimes when I'm doing something hard, like learning a language or reading a word that I've never seen before, I might think, I don't know this. And then I want to practice. I might want to say, I don't know this yet. Will you make a big Y with your body with me? Fantastic. Okay, let's try one more. Maybe you're trying to learn something new. I recently tried to learn something new, like skateboarding. Maybe you've tried to learn something new, like skateboarding too, or riding a bike. And it was really difficult. It's something that I want to keep practicing. But when I first started, I thought, I don't know how to do this yet. Exactly. And so even if I just say that word in my brain, yet, or I speak it out loud in my words, yet, or I make it with my body, yet, it can actually really help grow my brain and grow your brain and make us more flexible and ready to take on all those different challenges. That's pretty magical to me. Speaking of magical things, maybe you've noticed I have this beautiful book to share with you today, and it is called The Magical Yet. And it is written by Angela DiTerlisi with art by Lorena Alvarez. And not only is this book magical and beautiful and really inspiring, but it sparkles. Maybe you can see that. Maybe it's tricky to see. I definitely recommend that you grab this book from your library or from your local bookstore and read the whole thing. We'll just look at some parts together and we'll meet a really important character. There are days when your dreams don't have to come true, or you're upset by the things you can't do. If you've lost or failed or cried just a bit, you're tired of waiting, ready to quit. I'm noticing in the illustrations, there's something we talked about. Looks like she's tried to ride a bike, but had some trouble. With Yet's magic, you can begin to see that you're going beyond where you've been. There are so many things that you've learned to do when you didn't know the Yet was with you. Like when you babbled before you could talk, or how you crawled before you could walk. If you watched earlier in the month, when we first started talking about patience with ourselves and growth mindset, I actually remember that we were talking about crawling before walking, and how when you were little, you kept trying until you figured it out. Yet's a dreamer, a schemer, a hoper, a trier, a maker, a doer, a gotta fly higher. This Yet finds a way, even when you don't, and Yet knows you will, even when you think you won't. Look at all of these different things these characters are trying. Maybe you've tried some before. Maybe you haven't yet. They all look like they have their own different challenges. Maybe you've tried to play an instrument, learn a new tune. You might not know it yet, but you can figure it out if you stick with it. Maybe you've tried to knit or crochet. That can be hard to do, especially if you don't have much practice. Maybe you've tried to create art or draw or build. Maybe there was something you haven't been able to build yet, but if you keep working, you'll figure it out. Friends, I really love this book because it has so many great reminders about how this magical Yet can really help us stick with it, really help us when we face big challenges or obstacles, and hopefully really inspire us to keep trying, especially with things that we love, and especially with things that are important to help us grow our brain, learn new things, and even help us be better members of our community. Now, you may have heard me mention that there are a lot of different strategies or things we can try if we feel like we want to give up or if we feel like something's really difficult. And one of those things is taking a big breath. We've practiced some different breathing activities during our mindful moments, and today I want to do one that feels pretty magical. It's called bubble breath. And bubbles always feel magical to me, especially when the light shines in them after they're blown and they float around in the air. Maybe you feel like bubbles are kind of magical too. And so what I'd like us to do for our mindful moment today is pretend we're holding a wand full of bubbles. And we are going to breathe in through our nose. And then we're going to make an O shape with our mouth and pretend to breathe out and make a bunch of bubbles. We'll do this for 5 big breaths. Will you try it with me? Let's fill our spaces with some magical bubbles. Ready? Keep going. Are you seeing some magical bubbles? They're filling my room. Let's do 2 more breaths. One more. Wow. Friends, what do you notice? I'm using my imagination and I'm noticing a bunch of beautiful bubbles sparkling in the light. Yeah, I'm noticing that my body almost feels lighter I'm starting to feel like a bubble floating around. What about for you? What else are you noticing? Yeah, I feel calm, playful. Yeah, that was really fun for me too. Friends, thanks so much for taking that mindful moment with me. I really hope that you check out this book, The Magical Yet, and I hope that you come back next time. Be sure to subscribe so you can see when my next video is available. Friends, I hope you make it a wonderful rest of the day. Sending you off with some love if you'd like it, a hug if you want it, and I can't wait to see you next time.